example, it's a one-bedroom house, and it's 1,000 square feet. Well, if you're going to build a house that's going to be 1,100 square feet, then you're going to have approximately 10% of a difference in the HERS score that you'll have to achieve. 10% more aggressive. They want the homes that are being built to kind of correspond to the size, because they know that this is extremely efficient as far as the way they map things out and that kind of thing. So that's where this variable threshold comes from. Used to be 85. The score you get is still what you get. I mean, it's still, even if the house was had a lower score, it's still going to be a 77 if it scores 77. It won't be any different because it's larger. But what they're trying to do is make it to where the larger the home, it's a little bit tougher. You have to put more things into it to make it meet the Energy Star standard. So you can kind of look through this. There's a good amount of information there, quite a bit. But it more or less explains, when we go out and we take a house, we take the information and put it in the software we use called RimRate. This kind of explains the very bare bone basic standards, everything that goes into that house as far as heating and cooling equipment, windows, insulation, that kind of thing, that they consider to be an Energy Star home. So the home that you're building will be in comparison to this model or reference home that they're talking about, with all these particular standards that are detailed in here. And by the way, I told Dina, I've got a copy of this available to anyone that wants it. At the end of the presentation, I've got my email on there. You just send me an email and I'll send you a copy of this whole presentation. There's several PDFs that, these PDFs, right, these are in PDF form as well. So you can hang on to these or give them to friends or whatever. So that's the biggest thing. One of the biggest differences is the size of the home does have an effect on what the target score has to be to meet your Energy Star certification. Like I just sort of talked to, if you go down to Exhibit 1 down there at the bottom, you'll see what they consider to be the benchmark home size. And you do a quick little calculation and begin to see what the difference is. It seems like it seems like when I did one, I just, for fun, I said, all right, if it was a seemed like I made it, instead of a 2,200 square foot home, I made it 2,500 square feet, and rather than 85, the score became 77, I think. But you can kind of just play around with it a little bit if you want, and you'll begin to see what the difference is in the lower rating. Alright, so, in addition to that, here's what I consider to be the biggest difference. There's really, as far as anything that I think might make a person leery of trying to build an Energy Star home that did build them in the past, I think it might just be the numbers of people that will need to be involved in, or the way you coordinate these people in getting the home certified. I'm going to pass this out right here. These are the new checklists that are going to be required for 2.5 and 3.0. The thermal enclosure inspection checklist is very, very similar. I'm about to pass them out for you and I'll explain. Let's see. Here they are. Here's all four of the checklists, so you guys can kind of be looking at this as we go through them. The first one, as I mentioned, very similar to the old thermal bypass checklist that we used to do, except now there's a few additions that will have to be met to meet 2.5. And I'm going to get to this in a minute. Y'all are hearing me kind of bandy about 2.5 and 3.0. 3.0 is the standard that starts next year. As far as this is concerned, this year, we're going to be dealing with 2.0 up until April. And after that, 2.5. If you got permitted prior to April 1st of this year, and you have your final inspection prior to July 1st of this year, you can still use version 2.0, which is a lot easier to meet. You have the option of having it certified as 2.5 if you want. There may be people who are reading up about this that are in the market for a home, and they'll ask you, well, is that home, is that the old 2.0 or is that 2.5? So you have the option of making it the higher standard if it meets the criteria. Now, the only difference between 2.5 and the one that starts next year, 3.0, the checklists are the same, all the requirements are the same. It's just that on a couple of these checklists, and I'll point this out in a minute, if you don't meet the requirements of the checklist, you can't be denied a certification for the home. In other words, you still have to fill out the paperwork, but if there's some things on there that don't meet the standard, then you can't not be certified for the home. And the design around that is, all right, let's just get familiar. Let's get familiar with 3.0, but let's not just turn away people who are wanting to do it, because it is going to be a little bit of a learning curve, and it's probably going to take more coordination and time management than anything. Let's just, we'll go through all of it. Here are the four. You've got, like I said, the thermal enclosure inspection checklist. We as raters will do that. You've got a heating and cooling system quality installation for contractors. That will have to be filled out by the representative of the heating and cooling company that you use. That will have to be filled out by them. Then you've got the HVAC system quality installation checklist for the raters. I'll have to go through, get his checklist, and then I go through after the system's in and verify certain things like airflow, the balance in the room, the pressure balances in the rooms. There's things that really make a house better that we'll go through, and it's going to take some additional time on the rater's part to do this. That's why there will be a little bit more cost involved. But I'm telling you, it's great stuff, and you will have a fine house after all these are met. And then there's a new, like a water management system that the builder themselves will have to fill out. And it's basically moisture control. You can kind of take a look at it and go through it and kind of see what's involved. So we'll kind of run through each one. All right, on the thermal enclosure system rater checklist, the one we do. Like I said, a lot of it's the same as before. Some of the new requirements, they're going to require insulation below attic platforms now. You're going to have to take a look at 4.4. And by the way, to pass 2.5, you will have to meet the standards. This is the very first one you'll see right here. It says the thermal enclosures system rater checklist at the top of it. It's the first one in the list there. Where you go down there, 1, 2, and 3, to fully aligned air barriers, all of those requirements will have to be met for you to get the home certified under 2.5. All of the requirements under number 5, air sealing, will have to be met.